We are ready.
This, I do not know who is chair of this subcommittee.
Oh.
You're the you're a chair, but whatever you want to run it. Or
Okay, it's 10:32 and I call the Ashland Parks and Recreation Commission current Parks Conservation and Maintenance Subcommittee meeting to order. Let me find the agenda here. First is approval of minutes for the current Parks Conservation and Maintenance Subcommittee of November 29th, 2022.
Let's
Do we have a,
Rich, since you weren't there and there's only two of you, what has been done in the past is if Jim thinks they're good, you all approve them, and then I make a note that you're approving the minutes, but you are absent, so I'm able to actually verify what's in there. Since it's an odd thing where there's just two of you on it, so.
okay,
so I would approve the minutes then.
all right, sounds good. Next order of business is public participation, public comment. Sean, the person watching is not interested in making public comment? Okay.
No, I didn't receive any requests to speak.
Okay, so we only have one order of business today, and the topic is the non-standard memorial request at Lithia Park Lower Duck Pond. And this was presented to the Ashland Parks and Recreation Commission during a business meeting and was sent back to the committee to reconsider further.
Yeah, just to add a little, so the concerns raised at the commission meeting were wording and imagery on the plaque, and then also the plaque location. It was proposed that the plaque be placed on a boulder, and that was an issue. And so I guess as staff, the purpose of this is kind of have an open table type discussion and see if there's tweaks to the request that can be made that's amenable to both sides, to see if there's a way to move it forward. And then I can bring up on screen the plaque when we start talking about that. And then I also can bring up some images that were taken when we first started looking at plaque locations that includes an alternative. So let me know how you'd like to start or what you would like to see, and I'll help out.
Well, I have all of those images in front of me, but do we want to start discussing the location and then we can look at the content of the plaque itself? And I don't know if you want to show these, Sean. I think in our packet, or you sent out a couple of proposed spots for the plaque.
Can you see these three images?
I can.
So this is what I kind of first explored since Jossie's out of town. I went down there and said, here's some potential options. A couple of them were the boulders. This is the one that ended up in the request. That's by the little structure there. This was the other option that I looked at, and this essentially would be a stand with the plaque attached to it, similar to the tree identification signs already in Lithia Park, although it would be a different material, but it would be the same kind of idea. So those were the three locations that were initially looked at as a starting point.
I'm going to be honest, I'm not a fan of the plaque on a pole right next to the duck pond. I personally would prefer, I realize that there are a couple of commissioners that have concerns about one of the boulders. I think that's actually less obtrusive and less visually jarring than a plaque on a stand. And so I like the location that's been proposed. The other one looks like it might be workable as well in my view. I think, you know, I might be the wrong commissioner to even be talking about this because I didn't have any problem with any of the entire proposal from the beginning. So, Jim, what do you think? I mean, it has just a majority anyway. So if a commissioner or two doesn't like it, maybe that doesn't matter, but.
Yeah, and I think I approved this way back when, evidently, and so I didn't have a issue with it either. And I would agree, a plaque on a pole is more obtrusive than a plaque on a rock. And you know, if it's epoxied on, it at some point in the far distant future, it has to come off. It probably isn't going to be catastrophic for the stone itself. So, and so, and then the wording of it, I guess I didn't have a problem with that, but then, you know, maybe I'm kind of laissez-faire about this particular one, and I think it was kind of romantic, actually. So
I thought it was super sweet also. And
yeah.
I don't care that there aren't swans in the pond now. It's kind of cool because some people might know that there used to be, but it doesn't seem like a problem. And the word mate is commonly and is sort of casually known as like pairing together. I don't think it necessarily has anything to do with cisnormative, like heteronormative type of suggestion. So, I mean, I almost would just say that we bring it right back to the commission the way it was, and but without like a suggestion from a specific suggestion that I thought was, you know, and I guess I don't know if Jossie's can be part of this conversation as well, but and maybe you've given some thought to other alternatives or anything that might address any of these concerns, but personally, I don't know that any of those things are enough to put me off for the proposal.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I love the boulder placement. I agree that it's just like, it just blends with the park. You know, it mirrors the plaque that's there, the Meyer Pond, you know, the existing sort of like naming plaque is on a boulder. And I just, I think that's really nice. And like next to the bench, you know, my family's like getting older, my aunts, and, you know, it's like sitting next to the bench, sitting there, being able to look at it. I think that would be really like meaningful. And then, you know, the swans. So my grandma had like loved the swans when they were there. She was always worried about the swans. She followed the swan drama. She would always say, you know, when are the swans coming back? And so I guess in my family, we felt like this was a little way, you know, we know the swans aren't coming back, but like it's a little bit of the history of the park, you know, there on the plaque. And I'll just say that you know, I'm not just the donor, it's my whole family, like putting money together. Everyone's contributing. So it's been like a lot of, you know, hundreds of emails of people like negotiating the wording and the, you know.
I'm so sorry. That's
so it's been like, so my heart like really sank when I thought of, you know, going back to like renegotiate all of that with my family, because they're not well, they're that might be difficult. That's all I'll say. So if you you know, and I'm open to that if we need to, but if you think it's okay how it is, that would be obviously ideal.
Commissioner Lewis.
And I think the considerable contribution should be considered as well, and to the health and good health of the pond itself this contribution will go a long way to that. So I mean, early on, the reason we had all these policies about the park, because it's a park and not a memorial park, but it's a significant place to contribute to the health and well-being of that lower pond, and I think that should be considered as well, as that we can memorialize people. And hey, I've been married for 53 years, so there's a part of me that feels like longevity of marriage is an important thing, and it's a sweet story, and it is the Black Swan Pond historically, so there is a connection, historic connection. So yeah, I would agree, if we send this back and just try to make sure they are careful with the installation of the plaque, and as far as don't destroy the stone too much, but just adhere it to it, I think wouldn't be a disaster either.
And I have two points. One, and I'd like folks' opinion on this. One is Chair Lawrence was concerned that the plaque isn't necessarily clearly delineating what part of the park it's like contributing to. So one possibility, and I mean, I feel like there's already a decent amount of text on the plaque, but I don't know if commissioners would prefer, like, we could present an option that says like, water filters for the pond provided by Mastain family or something. If we wanted to see that connection more obviously, or some text that indicates what the donation went to, because he was saying, well, when you have a plaque on a bench, it's obvious that you are maintaining that bench and that is where the money is going to. So that's one idea. And the other thing, and just in terms of messaging, that is a beautiful spot for a plaque. And yeah, sitting on that bench and having that, I don't doubt that there would be donors at when the lifespan of this plaque ends. I actually think that, I'm like, heck, I'll take that place. Like, that'll be my memorial plaque in 50 years. I'll take that spot. That's a beautiful spot. I think that it's, that's not as much of a concern for me. And I also agree with you, Jim, that it's rock, that it's not going to, I'm not as concerned about the damage as I am about the aesthetic. And I just think that pole will be kind of unacceptable, honestly, for the aesthetic. What are your thoughts? And I actually, Sean, I don't know if you have instances of when if there's any sort of situation where this is done before, but what do folks think about this idea of like connecting the donation to the plaque, so that the public understands that this plaque is not as a memorial, but it's also maintaining a critical piece of the park?
Yeah, there are plaques for various things throughout Lithia Park that state that, like the ice rink plaque specifically states that. So it wouldn't be out of the norm to have that on a plaque. If Josie is amenable, then I could work directly with her on figuring out what that language is and getting a new proof.
Yeah, that sounds fine. So maybe it would just be like at the top, and then the wording that we have discussed would be below. That'd be great. That'd be fine.
Yeah, I think we could present two options if that helps. What do you think, Commissioner Lewis?
Yeah, I would agree. Give the two options, and then we send it back to the full commission, and with that recommendation. And as long as you're open to the commission making the decision, then yeah.
Sean?
And yeah, so if I could just state what the process is, just for the record. So the policy states that this committee will make a recommendation on all non-standard memorial requests that will then get sent to the full Parks Commission, where the full commission makes the final decision, yes or no vote. And so so just to be clear, like, if this proposal went back, it would be as is, it would be for a yes or no vote with the issues raised on the record. And so it's possible it could get voted no, it's possible it could get voted yes. So it just depends on the majority.
Yes, Josie.
So if it was voted no, then what would the process be after that?
I would need to consult, like, I would need to consult with the director, but my inclination is like, that it's already gone to the commission once, issues have been raised. If it goes back again and gets voted down, I would think that would be it.
Okay.
I have another clarifying question. If we are supposed to make a recommendation that the commission can vote yes or no on, does that mean that presenting two options is unacceptable, or?
No, you can present you can say with, recommend this with the option of two plaques for the commissions to consider.
I think that it is more likely that it will be accepted than not. And I don't personally see an option that is acceptable or aesthetically pleasing, or that we could go with that would satisfy commissioners, and they just need to decide whether that's something they can live with for this very generous donation. And so I'm content to bring this back to the commission and see what happens personally. How do you feel, Commissioner Lewis?
I would agree with you. Yeah. And we'll be there to defend our.
Right. We have to convince only one more commissioner.
Wait,
It can't be that hard.
I was going to do that math. Yeah.
So I think that's all, unless anyone has anything to add, or
I
items.
do need like an official motion to put into the record that can be reported on.
Okay. Jim, you want to make a motion, or shall I?
You can make the motion.
Okay, I move that we resubmit the proposal as is, to the, or recommend the proposal as is to the APRC commission, with the addition of an added plaque, an added content to the plaque that states what the donation is going to support.
And I would agree with that. Yay.
Okay.
All right, perfect. Can I ask a question on timing? Would everybody be amenable for this to come back to the commission on June 14th at the next regular? Well, actually, we would need to do a special meeting on June 7th to easily facilitate Josie joining remotely.
And I don't need to join if you want me, I'm happy to, but if it makes it, harder or easier, either way is fine. It's up to you.
It's your preference on whether or not you want to attend, and it's totally up to you.
Yeah, Josie, I don't think it would make one difference one way or the other if you attend. I think June 7th is a study session. Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so since those are already remote, it would be easy to bring her in. Typically these come during regular business meetings. And so that's when I typically would schedule it.
Do you have a preference, Josie? Do you want to be there, or do you trust us to carry your torch and see
I mean, I trust you. I trust you. So I'd probably prefer not to come, honestly, but if you think it's like helpful for me to come, I'm happy to come. But if you don't think it makes a difference, then just go ahead.
I think all the commissioners got to meet you and hear the story, and I think that, you know, they I think that their small issues are just totally separate from the emotional content and the personal story. So I would propose that we have it on the business meeting, the normal business meeting, instead of the study session.
Okay, that'll give us some time to fine tune the wording on the plaque and get another proof as well, so.
Perfect. Yeah, and I'd love to, if you get to a point where you have it might be a little challenging to come up with that sentence because water filters, not that exciting. I want to say like, this clean water brought to you by the Mastain family or something.
I love that.
But that's also confusing. So yeah, I'd love to. I for some reason I love wordsmithing, silly stuff like that. So if you're looking for someone to bounce ideas off of, feel free to email to me. I don't know. I'm brand new to this subcommittee. I have heard that there's have been talk about going and looking at, you know, that there are some projects that we are hoping that the subcommittee would start to take on. And I guess this isn't really the time to talk about it. We'd probably be better off with some of the staff that normally come to this meeting to discuss those things. So unless there's anything else, I think we are good to be adjourned. Okay, I adjourn the meeting at 10:54. Thank you, and Jossie will do our best for you.
Great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.